All right, all right. How's everybody doing? Good? Doing well? Happy Monday? Always a happy Monday, right? Make sure we're good to go. Seeing everybody on here. Get live with it. Oh, streaming. Can you guess what we're going to talk about? Here's a hint. Shout out to my daughter for the great Kylo Ren drawing. A little holdover from May 4th. Hope everyone's doing well. Let's talk about cyber insurance. We had a lot of questions lately after the NDIA conference and my discussion. I'll link that down below, but you can probably find that earlier in some of my feed. How does cyber insurance work? How does insurance work generally? What are we trying to go after? What are we trying to do? And I feel like the mechanics are kind of missed based on some of the discussions and conversations I've had and questions I've been asked. So let's go over that. And I think, this, and I think we're going to have a follow-on series of videos about how to actually get cyber insurance for your organization. So let's start with what is, insurance. Insurance from a risk management standpoint, right, is you have a risk, right? You can either accept a risk, you can remediate the risk, you can transfer the risk, right? This is where insurance comes in, right? You are taking your risk and you are moving it to someone else to own. Okay, so when you do that, right, someone else, a carrier, an insurance carrier, is now going to accept the risk that you have in your organization as their own, and they're going to cover any kind of losses associated with that risk. So carriers don't just sign up for this, right? Nobody's just going to be like, hey, I'm going to take on any risk and you're going to give me some money and, it's going to work out. Insurance carriers have to go through and figure out how to best understand what your risk is that you're trying to transfer to them, right? Is it a specific risk? Is it all of your risk? Okay. They need to figure out, is it somewhere in between, right? So the current kind of process that everyone goes through right now on getting, that level of insight. Whoa, hey, there we go. A little feedback from LinkedIn. Thank you, LinkedIn. Make sure we're still working. A carrier needs to go through a process to better understand what your risk is. Okay, and the process to date has been using applications, okay, and through brokers, or if a carrier goes direct. But a lot of times you have a broker, otherwise known as an agent, right, that's working with you. So you are the client and you want insurance because you have risk inside of your organization, and it could be anything. It could be commercial lines risk, it could be management liability, professional liability, right? These are all risks, but we're going to talk about specifically cyber risk and cyber insurance that you need to transfer. Okay, so how's a carrier best going to understand what your cybersecurity posture is, right? And thus what the risks are that they're accepting out of your posture. Right now, I'm going to just say that the process is pretty broken and it stands to see a lot of improvement. I think that's pretty evident based on the amount of claims that carriers have been paying out on, right, to clients to cover losses. Okay, when something bad happen, you make a claim to your carrier, either through your broker or directly through your carrier, depending on how your policy is written, to get reimbursed based on the risk, right? You get into an auto accident, you put a claim to your insurance carrier, they pay for your car to go back to whole, right? As good as it was, before the accident. You've made a claim. So right now, carriers need to better understand what your actual risks are. They can only do that by assessing what your security posture is. So what they're doing is they're looking at your posture, okay, or trying to, and out of that, they're trying to determine what that actual risks are that are left over, okay? And those risks are what go to the carrier underneath your actual insurance policy, okay? Follow? Savvy? I had a great movie weekend this weekend, so, you know, just bear with me on the bad quotes. So here's your client. Here you are, okay? Right now, the process is they hand you an application, for the most part. There's some folks out there trying to do some auto magic on looking at your security posture from the outside and making a educated best guess on that to then basically inform an internal application that they have to then tell the carrier what your actual risk is. But we're not going to touch those wizards just yet. Let's go through a regular process that most people are going through to get cyber insurance or any insurance. You're going to have an application, right? An application is a document, and we've seen them, right? It's right up there on the 12th level of hell. Kidding, Dante only had 9, with security questionnaires, right? You're going to answer a document that is going to inform, hopefully, the carrier of what your actual posture is. They, out of that, should be then determining what your risk is to them. That's what's supposed to be happening. I question whether or not most of these applications are relevant. Further, I question whether or not many of these applications are fully understood by the carriers and the underwriters of what the actual posture of you as a client. This is where the real problem exists for getting covered and insured. I mean, if you look at most of these applications, they ask you things that, look, I'm a cybersecurity professional. I don't know how to determine the risk off of some of the questions that are being asked in these questionnaires. So what are you to do? Well, we've kind of ignored the one person in this equation here who can really help you, and that is your broker. Think of your broker as your agent. I said this at the NDIA conference, and I'll say it again. This person works for you, okay? If they are an independent broker of the carrier, even better, okay? If they are somehow aligned with the carrier, great, but, you know, they should still be working for you. Their interests should be aligned with your interests as the client. So what can you do with that relationship? Well, like anything else, you could probably exploit that relationship. I'm kidding. No, but what you need to do is actually work that relationship. And again, they're in business to make money. They're not just there for the goodwill of the people. They're not there to just make carriers happy. This is a business for these folks. And they are either MGAs, MGUs, independent brokers, agents. There's a litany of constructs in which a broker can exist. Okay, brokers. Okay, for example, NFP is a broker. IMA, Marsh & McLennan. Okay, these are large-scale brokers in the United States, world, that are well recognized and respected. So that's the type of thing you're working with. Chubb, Beasley, Aon. These guys are carriers. Okay, Travelers, Hartford, Hanover. They're carriers. Okay, there's a difference. You need to work with your broker, and here's how I would work with my broker, and this is what we do with any SideChannel clients, is we make the broker understand what the security posture is. Sure, the carrier is going to hand them an application that they need to use because this is the only way the carrier can ingest any information to better understand what your posture is to then determine what your risk is to them. Here's how you shortcut that, okay? What we need to start doing is we need to start assessing our posture as a client and giving the broker full visibility into that, okay? That can be done through a risk assessment, okay? And that could be a self-risk assessment, okay? That could be a set of scans. That could be an audit, maybe like a SOC 2, some type of ISO certification, right? Shorthand ISO. I know blue on blue is not working right here for me perfectly. Okay, bad wardrobe choice. Make sure you can see that, okay? You need to do something, okay? Some type of action on your own organization, okay? You need to be able to pull this information together. Do you have a CISO? Do you have a CTO? Do you have a vCISO, right? Do you have a consultant? Do you have someone, okay, in your organization, if you yourself don't have it, who can help articulate what this is to this person and this group? And here's a great kind of thing on when do you need help, okay? Because I get asked this a lot. If you get this application directly from the carrier or through your broker, and you don't know how to answer it, and you don't know who in your organization can effectively answer it, and I don't mean just like fill in like one or two words. I mean, like, think about this. You're trying to get insurance. You're trying to make and plead the best case of your posture to someone who is going to accept and transfer it or transfer the risk to them. This is not an application or any of this that you just kind of fill out very quickly and try to get through. If you can't fully articulate your security posture to these people on a basic application, which I believe is incorrectly given to you in the first place, but it doesn't matter, you need help. You need outside help. If you don't have a CISO at the helm, okay, you don't have a CTO or a CIO who understands security and risk in this way to be able to articulate it into this application, get help, okay? And if you don't have anybody internal that you trust, start with your broker. Go to your broker and say, listen, I need cybersecurity expertise. Most of the time, these folks are not that, but they should put you in touch with those that they trust, those that they have on the panels from the carriers, those that they've seen in action, those that they partner with, okay? They should be putting you in touch with someone who can help you articulate this. Let's do a cost-based analysis of a risk manifesting and not being covered, right? Versus spending some money to do this exercise. Okay, maybe not the SOC 2 and ISO. I get it, that's costly. But you could do these other things, okay, to offset what the risk would be of getting popped and having a breach. People are spending hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on them getting breached and then not getting covered, okay? That's huge. How much does it cost to do a risk assessment? How much does it cost to get some minor amount of consulting in to at least better understand what your risk posture is, so at least you're informed, but then to help you better structure the conversation to your broker and to the carrier? Okay, if you've really looked at it, it's short money. It's really, really short money. So what are you going to do? You're going to do this assessment. You're going to take a look at and best understand and identify and document what your posture is. You're then going to document what your known risks are. Okay? You need to do this. Do not allow this application to dictate what this risk is or what your posture is. Okay? You need to have that yourself. Like I said before, I don't sell cybersecurity. You either believe it's a risk or you don't. If your goal is to just check this box and throw it against the wall and see if it sticks with the carrier to get insured, stop watching. Go back to whatever it is you're doing. This isn't for you. But if you genuinely want to figure out how to get cyber insurance, right, you need to go through this process. And quite honestly, this process is just going to help you build out your cyber posture, your risk management posture anyway. Okay, so why not use the going after insurance as a catalyst? So how do you do an assessment? Well, that's an entirely different discussion, but essentially look at a framework that you feel like you should be aligned to. If you have a regulatory framework that you must be aligned to, good to start with that. But if you don't, I like NIST. I'm a big fan. Check out my book on it, available on Amazon, out by Wiley. It's a great little book on how to look at the NIST cybersecurity framework and practical implementations. Do a risk assessment yourself. There's a slew of products out there. I happen to have built one. SideChannel actually produces one as well, right? Like we produce it through the Real CISO platform. You know, that was made with insurance in mind. You could do it in Excel. Again, just go through what your risk posture is. Document it. Now, you go through this entire process. You document, you feel pretty good. You've got some consulting. You've got a CISO, a vCISO. You've got a stellar CTO who knows how to articulate, again, your security posture to anyone, someone, what do? You sit down with your broker and you say, listen, I want to get cyber insurance. And they're going to go, great, here's the applications, here's who we like, this is what you need to fill. And you're going to go, whoa, stop. No. I'm the customer. I need you to listen to me. I'm going to explain to you what my cybersecurity posture is. I'm going to identify to you what I believe my risks are that are going to be a flag. And I want to make sure that I'm socializing to you all of this and that you understand. If they don't understand, maybe it's time to find a new broker. Remember, this person is representing you and being the middleman or woman to the carriers. You kind of want them to understand what it is you're talking about. You kind of really want them to understand how to actually do this on your behalf. If they can't, why are you working with them? So let's say you have a good broker. They understand what you're talking about. They understand the documentation you've put together. They're able to really help better understand and articulate what you're saying to the carriers, because it's like a whole nother language, like lawyers talking, right? These folks understand the language. Again, they're going to represent you to the carriers. They're going to help you better get a coverage of some sort, okay? How does this work? They're still going to ask for the application. You're going to have to fill it out. Your broker is better going to understand maybe how to position what goes in there. Ideally, what you can do is, with your broker, you have the opportunity, have them find 1 to 3 of the top carriers that they feel will be favorable to you based on the sector you're in, the type of data you're processing, the risks that you identified, and see if they can get you to be able to sit down and or somehow in front of the underwriter. Because you want to tell your story. You want to be able to explain what your risk is. You want to be able to better articulate to the carrier why you need the limits that you do, okay? I don't need, $1 million of coverage. I need $5 million. I need $10 million, okay? Whatever that is, you need to explain why that is. Why? Because you figured out what your posture is, thus the risks that you have, okay? So if you can explain that, now you've got a pretty good story all around. You can go in and say, hey, this is what I look like. This is what my risks are. I already know that. I'm not trying to fool you, because if I didn't identify my risks, or if I lied to you and I tried to make a claim, it's not going to be covered anyway. So why don't I go into this eyes wide open, everybody's on the same page, let's just do this. And I only need these limits. I need $10 million of cyber. I need $5 million of cyber. Is that per instance? Is that aggregate? You got to figure that out. Work with your broker on what that is. You should be able to determine that based on the risks. But you can only do this, again, you know what your actual posture is. Again, I'll go back to, if the first time you're trying to figure out your security posture is when you're filling out your application, you're at day 1, folks. Like, back way up. Really rethink what you're trying to do here. This is not something that you can, again, just put together, throw against the wall and hope it sticks. More and more people are being denied coverage. And I think a lot of it is because, 1, these applications are terrible. 2, these folks aren't cybersecurity experts. And 3, you as a client aren't doing your responsibility to best articulate what your posture is. So I'm going to go into some other stuff in some future videos. This will be recorded and thrown out. Definitely hit the subscribe button down below. If you're following on YouTube, follow me, follow SideChannel, follow Real CISO up on LinkedIn, because we'll be putting more of these out. But folks, this isn't impossible. It just takes a little bit of work. All right. I'm Brian Hoagley. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope everybody's doing well. Enjoy the week. Looking forward to it. I'll see you next time.